cutting through the noise on LinkedIn, the things you need to focus on growing your profile and getting your profile complete. This is part 3 of the series. So if you've seen part 1 and 2, fantastic. If you haven't, I would strongly suggest, because they're in sequence, go back to parts 1 and 2 to make sure you get your header and your your contact information all sorted out. What we're going to do now is we're going to use some tools available to us to sort out a thing that I find is a massive bugbear on LinkedIn: your about section. How to write an about section that is actually attractive and useful. How to use the featured section on LinkedIn to engage with people and not to brag. So that's what we're going to cover in this little 10-minute clip. So the first thing is your about section. When you look at a profile, any profile, and you are looking at it, there is a thing that will drive you into that profile. And that's the first 2 lines of their about section. So I'm on Jasmine's profile. You'll notice I keep coming back to him. If you look at his about section, he's asking you to engage, but then he leaves you hanging. Better yet, okay, what does that mean? It means you need to actually click see more. Once you click see more, he then goes on to talk about it. That means you're engaging. That also tells LinkedIn, the algorithm, again, that this is the kind of content you want to see on your profile. So that helps you change the news feed so it's better quality news feed. So when we go to the about section, I see a lot of LinkedIn about sections where there's not a lot of information and it's almost written as a third party. Hi, Kenneth was great at this, Kenneth was this, Kenneth was that. No. The name about is probably the problem, because it's not about you. It's about me, your prospect. How are you getting me to engage with you? Don't always think it's about you. And unfortunately, because of the way LinkedIn is structured, that's what we've always thought. LinkedIn is about us. So over here, we'll come in and we'll tell you about our experience. We'll tell you how many years we've done. We'll tell you how many people we've saved, etc., etc. But we haven't identified the problem. And if we haven't identified the problem, it means we don't resonate with your prospect's problem. So there is actually a science behind this. The whole thing behind digital marketing and marketing in general is language, and language that your people use. You also need to consider the fact that people are following a journey in LinkedIn. They will find you in a newsfeed. They'll be curious because your title has hopefully inspired some sort of curiosity. When they click on that, it brings them to your profile. When you click on the about section and you open the about section, they're going to read about you. And if all you're talking about is how amazing you are, and at no stage do you mention how you've solved people's problems, they're going to go, thank you very much, and they're going to bounce, which is what most people do. So one of the things that I found to make building your about section a lot easier is ChatGPT. Same thing, go to Google Docs. Google Docs have got this amazing thing called voice typing. Talk about what it is that you are doing for people. Talk about what it is that you are solving. Then take that text, go to chat, copy and paste the text, and chat will then help you write your about section. And use prompts like story brand. Act like a story brand master. Rewrite this content for my LinkedIn about section, focusing on the story brand principles, and create my about section. Give me 4 variations. The idea behind that is it's not so much that we want chat to do all the work. It's chat will come up with some good pieces and some very common pieces. Don't be lazy. Take the good pieces out, turf the common pieces. Let's delve into, hey, LinkedIn fam. I mean, those are so common in ChatGPT phrases that people kind of recognize AI and step away from it. So change it so that it becomes you speaking, and make sure that when you give chat the prompt, that the prompt is very clear to maintain your tone, your voice, your flow. When we go further down, once we've completed the about section, put it in and use the full amount of characters. We then go to the featured section. Now, the featured section is often used badly, or should I say poorly. So let's recap. Your LinkedIn profile is a landing page. A landing page has a job to do. The job it needs doing is converting people to take action. When you study landing pages, the one thing that we talk about is contention ratio. If you give me too many choices, I don't make a decision. The less choices you give me, the easier it is for me to make a decision. So, too many choices, no decision. Fewer choices, more decisions. Right. Now, bear that in mind. On my profile, I have 2 items, as you can see. I have a newsletter. A newsletter is contentious. Everybody's like, build your newsletter out of a platform, da 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 da. That's great. But let's start somewhere. And LinkedIn is an easy place to start because you can put your newsletter on LinkedIn. People can subscribe to your newsletter, take action without taking too much action. So, this is an easy way to grow a database that you can continuously talk to. And for them, it's a simple case of clicking on the subscribe button. Really easy to do that. The other option I have is I've added a link to book a meeting with me. Why? Because how else am I going to help you other than having a conversation with you? If you want to build a relationship, you need to start it with a conversation, which is why we have the 4 C's: connections, conversations, content, and coaching. If you have a new connection, you need something to talk about. That's why you have content. And that's something that you need to talk about is the conversation. That's how you build relational capital. Unfortunately, what I see a lot of on LinkedIn are featured sections like this. Okay. There he's done the subscribe. That's great. But he's got a post here to drive you back into his newsfeed. Now, the problem with that is if I have been in your newsfeed, I have been curious, and now I get to your profile, instead of me taking a positive action that allows me to engage with you, you are sending me back into the newsfeed. By sending me back into the newsfeed, you lose me. So don't lose those in your featured section. Newsletter, absolutely. Links. Links are a great way to get people to go to your YouTube channel, subscribe to your podcast, if you don't want them to book a call with you. The problem is most people fall into the LinkedIn trap. And yes, this is a very clever trap. LinkedIn do not, I repeat, do not want you to leave the platform. So what do? You click on you see, we've created friction. That friction has stopped me from going straight to the next page. If I go to my profile and I click on my pencil, when I have a link that I've added and I click on the edit button, you'll notice my description is empty. My description will appear on the image and in the title, but not in the description. Why? Allow me to demonstrate. So when I go back to my featured section, if I want you to book a call with me, I click there. It goes straight through to my calendar. Now, did you see there was no friction? Click and we went straight there. Whereas over here, when I click on the link, it takes me there. I've now been stopped. So when building landing pages, when building digital marketing, the thing that you want is you want no friction in the right place, and you want a lot of friction in the right place. Often we put friction in the wrong place. And here is a prime example of where clicking on a booking with a description, which is what we think we should do, fill in the fields, we're helping? No, we're not. We're actually stopping people from getting to the goal, which is booking a meeting with you. So when you look at your profile, don't always think that all the checkboxes need to be checked. Don't think that all the descriptions need to be filled in particular, your featured section. Please, if you can, try and have 2 low ticket item offers. Subscribe doesn't cost anything. Book in a call doesn't cost anything. So that covers your about section and your featured section. We have now pretty much tackled the most visible elements of LinkedIn. In the next section, we are going to touch on how to engage on LinkedIn correctly, and probably one of the most challenging things for people, some tips on how to create content. So thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, remember, connect with me on LinkedIn and DM me, and we'll chat soon.